From the beginning, music has played an essential role in film. The first films were silent, and the original function of music in the silent film era was hardly glamorous. Music was, in fact, used to drown out the noise of the film projector. While any music could fulfill this masking role, film creators and directors began including music that would not only match the background noise of the projector, but help to illustrate and explain the action on the screen. The importance of music was recognized, and an entire music for silent film industry was created in order to support the function of music in film. They created publications of anthologies of music to represent various emotional settings, marking the first examples in which specific music could be used to convey specific emotions. In 1927, the talkies incorporated the use of live sound effects and real voices. As Kalanick states, when the possibility of synchronized speech and the sound effects released sound film from its reliance upon continuous musical accompaniment, it initially rejected music entirely. But the lifespan of the all-talking picture was brief. The need that music filled quickly reasserted itself. Music is an essential element to film, used to provide continuity, direct attention, create emotion, display meaning, represent memory, or create a sense of realism. Here we will be looking at examples of how music can be used to specifically accomplish the task of creating emotion. We will first compare and contrast the introductory scenes from the films Rocky IV and Raging Bull. Both films portray boxers, but the musical elements associated with each film set the mood. In the opening scene from Rocky IV, the music creates a feeling of excitement, tension, and intensity.
Rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. When the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and live to survive. So many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for money. Come to the rich on the trees of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. It's the time, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last notes of our steps is spreading the night, and these words to the storm in the eye of the tiger.
Rocky's determination and toughness are illustrated through the lines, "Just a man and his will to survive," and "rising up to the challenge of our rival." The music foreshadows Rocky's never-quit attitude and sets the mood for a film centered around a heroic, hard-nosed, and determined fighter. The opening of Raging Bull, however, creates a much different theme. The music in the opening scene of Raging Bull is much more somber and subdued to that of Rocky. It creates a feeling of sadness and pain, a theme that dominates the movie. The heroic theme of Rocky is immediately established through the use of music, just as the tragic theme of Raging Bull is presented in the open sequence. The comparison of these two introductions alone illustrates the varying effects that music can have over emotional association with two different films that seem to focus on the same theme, boxing. Michael Boldt states that the more ambiguous the meaning of the visual image, the more influence is exerted by the musical score in the process of interpreting a scene. He goes on to say, in analyzing the influence of music on emotions in a film, music appears to exert a direct influence on the cognitive processing of the film by guiding selective attention towards mood-consistent information and away from other information that is inconsistent with its effective balance. An example of music creating an emotion in ambiguous scenes can be witnessed when comparing the movies 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars. In both scenes, the viewer is watching a spaceship travel through outer space, but the music used in each scene stimulates specific emotions regarding the ships. In 2001, the music creates a feeling of elegance, wonder, and beauty. Contrast this with the dissonant and threatening feeling that is created by the music in the Star Wars film. Watching these scenes without any music creates a feeling void of any real emotion and simply an appearance of spaceships wandering throughout space. Watching these scenes with the audio track swapped makes the ship in Star Wars seem elegant, while the ship in 2001: A Space Odyssey seems ominous and threatening. Seeing this with your own eyes clearly illustrates the effects that music can have over movies and emotions created in movies. In contrast to supporting the images on the screen, music can also conflict with the images with interesting effects. Take for instance the scene from A Clockwork Orange. The brutal beating depicted in the scene would logically be backed by a disturbing or disjunct piece of music. The director, however, has the main character sing the song "Singing in the Rain," which is a relatively upbeat and joyful song. By doing this, it makes the character seem even more disturbing, because they are relating something extremely brutal and evil, a beating and eventual rape, to a song associated with happiness, making it seem as if the characters are deriving complete joy and happiness by committing this brutal act.
So dark up above, sun's in my heart, and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Boom, boom. I'm with the rain. I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain, and I'm singing, just singing in the rain.
Perhaps the most convenient example of the relationship between music and film can be seen in the trailer for the second Jaws film. As the trailer opens, the narrator states,
"It defines terror in 2 notes."
a seemingly perfect example of presenting emotion in film using music. The trailer then continues with heavily dissonant music set behind thrilling scenes of unease and chaos. Truly a perfect example.
It's back.
I think we may have another shark problem.
Roy Scheider, Jaws 2.
There are many articles discussing the influence of music on movies. The majority of the evidence is simply empirical. There's a definite need for solid scientific studies. It is hard to, however, analyze the effect of music in movies on individuals because the relationship is highly dependent on the individual themselves. Inferences can be made, however, due to the consistent use of, for example, dissonant music in horror movies or thrillers. There is no doubt that music has always and will always continue to play a significant role in movies and shaping emotion.